Welcome to another episode of my podcast, That's Fine With Me. Today we're going to be talking about drama that has been going on for almost a year. I talked about It Ends With Us and specifically Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, their plantation wedding, the whole scandal a couple of months ago, I guess maybe this July or I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember, but you can check this out. I have this on my channel. Right now, I want to talk and conclude all of the facts and I guess, more evidence that I have gathered from different sources, and I want to address the situation. Get some deep dive. If you're following the whole drama, you know a lot of this information, but if you don't, then maybe you should stick around because I sum everything up, in my opinion. We're going to get started with the rumor that is going around the internet that Blake Lively, she was rejected by Justin Baldoni, and that is the main reason why she tried to get her revenge and get him blacklisted for the entire community and Hollywood itself, and just, that is her ego. I think he rejected Blake Lively, but not in a way of sexual or any romantic way. I guess he rejected her because he didn't want to maybe follow every single instruction she was given and every single advice she was provided, and sometimes he had to stand by his own to defend his grounds. I guess Ryan Reynolds is more likely to be involved in this case, and he was probably throwing Blake under the bus the whole time. But I don't really know. We're going to dive into this situation a little bit later. For now, Justin Baldoni is not accusing Blake Lively in anything. He's just providing his evidence, and he's telling that you can judge for yourself. And his advocate created a website, not the advocate himself, but his lawyer. He many times mentioned that they're going to provide all the evidence, all this information, and people can see the truth behind this whole situation and drama. And this is probably the first case in history where public has so much access to the scandal. And in some ways, it's good. Some people call it a circus. And of course, when they went to court, the judge wasn't pleased with the way lawyers were handled the situation, as well as Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively and their lawyers in particular. And he mentioned a couple of times they should probably keep it to themselves and do not really reveal so much information to the public, which they did not actually follow. I think Blake hated the fact that a nobody, in her opinion, like Justin Baldoni, because he didn't really have a lot of films, and I don't really think Blake had a lot of films as well, because the only famous role she was famous for, it was Gossip Girl, and I saw her in a couple more films, but most of the time it was Gossip Girl, as well as Ryan refers every single time to Gossip Girl that, oh, every single time I watch it, I'm like wet or something like this. Again, sexual jokes, the way he is doing this all the time. And that is the main reason why I guess Blake Lively is a nobody as well. She's not super famous in the Hollywood industry. She's not a famous actress. She's famous for giving birth to numerous kids. She's famous for being a wife of Ryan Reynolds. And I don't really think they were super powerful before Deadpool, the first, I guess, role. Ryan Reynolds was an actor, more or less. He was a comedian, but I don't really think he was that popular back in the day. Maybe 2016 changed something for him because of Deadpool. But before that, he was just a comedian actor, as many of them. And that is the main reason why I don't really think there was any flirtation between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively. I guess she fell for his kindness and his passion to defend women and DV victims, but I don't really think there was actual feelings and actual rejection from his or her side. It was more like a director rejection of her ideas, which she probably hated, and that was the main reason why it, had a hard time on her ego. And a lot of people are speculating again about a Forbes award that was in 2022 where Blake Lively was nominated and I guess awarded with an actress. I don't even know what was the award, but I do know the context of this interview where she talked about her intervention in any sorts of films, and every single time she was offered an actress role or any part in the film, she at first went to the meeting and had a great time with the director and the rest of the crew, and later she would patiently, maybe not really patiently, introduce her ideas to a director, and when they didn't like it, then she, I guess, behaved pretty much the same way as Justin Baldoni. As with Justin Baldoni. And I really want to quote her from this video. What I'm talking about, you can understand. I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, but I also knew it wasn't fulfillment for me. I wanted to be a part in a storytelling, in a costume designs, and creating a character. But if we're talking about if It Ends With Us, she demanded to be in executive producer credits, and that was granted. In other films, I don't really think she had this opportunity, but most of the time she was an actress. And in a sense, it looks like an egomaniac because she wanted to be a designer and she did have this chance in Ends With Us film. Then she wanted to be a scriptwriter, a director, an actress, and take all these roles by herself. I mean, how blindfolded should be a person to think that she knows better in every single field of the filming process? I mean, I understand if you're a great actress, it's one thing, but when you think that you're better at styling and you know how the character should be dressed, or when you think that you should write the script because you know that you're more talented in this area, or how to direct, or maybe how to show the light, and all of these, I guess, areas of filming she wanted to be a part of, which is crazy because they're literally professionals that were hired to do this job and they're getting paid for this job. And there's just one person who doesn't have a lot of roles, doesn't have a lot of experience in the sense of other actors like Johnny Depp or maybe, I don't know, DiCaprio, and they're not behaving the same way as Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively on set because they know that they have to do their own job to be an actor. And she doesn't want to be just an actress. She want to be everything, everywhere. And it's crazy because it's super selfish. And she's an egomaniac, in my opinion, because she thinks that she knows better in every single field, which is crazy. And she doesn't really want to listen to some professionals. And we could see the professionalism, in quotes, when It Ends With Us, wardrobe was changed completely because of Lively's demands, and she changed the whole thing. And she spent $600,000 on the closet. The weirdest part that she was talking about the budget, that they didn't have a huge budget, and her husband, I guess, contributed a lot of money to the film, or at least he let them use his PR company for free. And Justin should have been grateful for this fact. But the fact that they spent more than $500,000 on just clothes, that was super ridiculous, and people made fun of her. And she wasn't a stylist, a professional stylist. She isn't a professional stylist. She's just someone who thinks that she had a couple of Met Gala looks, pretty successful, and then she can dictate people how to dress. The weirdest part that Met Gala is a little bit different part. Maybe if she participated in a creative process with designers, it's one thing, because still designers, they try to get her thoughts and put them in a real dress. And in this way, she had to do this by herself and to create these images by herself. And it was ridiculous because she didn't really want to ask for help from professionals. And that is a deal breaker. When you listen to this interview for Forbes, you understand that this person doesn't really understand that she's literally robbing other people from their job, and she's not even a professional, because a professional wouldn't do this. A professional would listen to different opinions and then maybe suggest something in return, and then maybe come up with something together, not to take a creative control from others. The worst part that I don't really understand, and I guess no one understands, why wouldn't they create their own project? Why would they rob people from their projects, steal their projects, and then create something hideous and crazy? Why wouldn't you do this by yourself? Maybe, this is my personal thought, because they want to just have something pre-made for them, let's say ordered. They have some funding and budget from different companies. They don't really want to bother themselves and finding funds and finding budgets, finding crew. And when they come in, they steal all the work that has been done for them, and they're acting like it's their own project because they're like, I don't know. You can think yourself who they are. And I guess Ryan Reynolds, he had the same narrative in Deadpool, because the first part had a director and it wasn't Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds then stole the movie, and he even kicked out one of the actors, his sort of best friend, that worked in the bar, and they have a beef. If I'm mistaken, this actor is pretty much against Ryan Reynolds, and he said that Ryan had a lot of jokes against him, and those jokes were rude and most of the time assaulting. That was the main reason why he didn't want to have anything to do with the Deadpool second or third part, if I'm mistaken. And he said he wouldn't agree on any part or any films with Ryan Reynolds in the future because he was super, super mean to him. All this drama was circulating the whole summer, maybe a little bit more right at the beginning of September, but then people started forgetting about It Ends With Us, and they still hated Blake Lively, but it wasn't that bad and severe. And I don't really think this power couple gets no as an answer. That is the main reason why they think they maybe can drop some other accusations, and others would support it, and others would help to regain the image they created through years. And that is the main reason why they dropped a bombshell this January, and they accused Justin Baldoni in SH. That was crazy. And a lot of celebrities and bloggers, they took Blake's side, especially I watched Jacqueline Hill's stories, and she said it's not okay and it's not proper to accuse to be this, like bad guy toward a woman and whatever and whatever. And we're like, um I didn't really understand why she was saying this, because she had no evidence from the other side and she didn't listen to the second side. And that was the main reason why I didn't like the response from Jacqueline Hill, because she always said that people were not listening to what she was saying and they were accusing her in something that she didn't do, and they don't really know half of the story. And then she was doing pretty much the same when she accused Justin Baldoni in something without his right to prove Blake Lively wrong. And not only Jacqueline Hill, but some other celebrities, they were involved in the scandal, and now they're quiet, and some of them apologized, some of them it's just like didn't say anything, and that is probably it. Let's talk about Jennifer Lopez for a second, and for a change. Jennifer Lopez scandal happened the same summer, 2024, and people were not happy with her, but her PR team, I guess, they were just waiting for the public to forget about the story, as it always happens, actually. Every single drama shuts down in a couple of months and people do forget about certain things and they move on with their lives because they have some other dramas. And I thought this was the case with It Ends With Us. But when Blake Lively and I guess Ryan Reynolds, they dropped the case right at the beginning of January, this started boiling again. And when everyone were kind of like done with the drama that happened this summer, they were like, oh, there's some new evidence and there's some accusations. So we're invested. Let's see what is going on. I don't really think that was a smart move for Blake's side to get all these things back. But I guess what they didn't know for sure, that Justin had all the proofs, all the evidence, and all the recordings on hands. And that is the main reason why they didn't expect him to drop the same evidence against Blake Lively and some real evidence. I mean, I'm talking about real evidence. And that is the main reason why they didn't expect this. And they were ruined again. They are ruined, I guess, in my opinion. Of course, a lot of people are saying that they have a lot of money and it will pass. But for now, a lot of people are not happy with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. And maybe when you have a very expensive lifestyle and you have a lot of expenses, your money, they're still not that much as you expect them to be to serve you a lifetime and for your kids. I don't really think they have a lot of money, and they still have some connections and they're really powerful, but a lot of their powerful friends are turning their backs, as well as Taylor Swift. She was accused in partially getting involved in this drama. I don't really think Taylor Swift had anything to do with this. Yeah, they're best friends, and I do think that Taylor could have seen this behavior through years. I mean, if you're so close to a person, then you should probably see some interviews, or maybe she could have seen when Blake was a little bit rude to other people. But I guess it is passive aggressive behavior. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, they were never rude to other people. They were always passive aggressive. They were joking, and these jokes were mean. But people neglected the fact because these still were jokes. When Jennifer Lopez, she was just mean and she was just serious, and that's why people hated her, and they had a lot of these stories to talk about Jennifer Lopez. In the case of Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, people didn't really have the stories to tell because they knew that all of these jokes through years, they were just like passive aggressive jokes, but there still were jokes. And that's why people like them, public like them for some reason. But honestly, I think Ryan Reynolds, he has the same image through years. He's a comedian, and everyone knows that comedians, they try to share some, weird stuff from their life, and they try to joke about this, and they're hurt sometimes, and they have some issues that they try to process while they're on stage, and they're joking about these things. As well, I guess Ryan Reynolds, he has some probably trauma or some issues in his head, because the way he treated his ex-wife, Scarlett Johansson, it shows a lot. And we're going to a little bit different part of my podcast where Candace Owens was talking about all these rumors, all these troubles with It Ends With Us, Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and she said that the mastermind behind the scene was Ryan Reynolds, and he was going to some really powerful people, and he tried to make them drop Justin Baldoni from VME. And she has some sources that it was really happening, and Ryan Reynolds tried to put Justin Baldoni in a blacklist of actors. And VME, they didn't drop Justin up until the point the scandal happened this January, and immediately they dropped him. Okay, someone says, and there's some certain speculations, Ryan has beef with Justin Baldoni, and he had been having this beef for quite a long period of time. Maybe that was the main reason why Blake agreed on this role, because Ryan pushed her in a way to act in Justin's film. The Wayfair company once let Scarlett Johansson to get her director debut in one of the films, and a lot of people are saying it didn't really sit well with Ryan. I don't know why, because Ryan actually left Scarlett, and if I'm mistaken, they weren't even divorced when he had some relationship with Blake. That is the main reason why it is weird, in my opinion, that he still cares about his ex and what she was doing. But some close sources from Ryan Reynolds' side claiming he wasn't happy about Scarlett's success. He thought that he wasn't that successful back in the day, and she was overshadowing him, and that was the main reason why he started dating Blake, because she wasn't successful in her career. She had a couple of roles. The most powerful was Gossip Girl, and that was it. Honestly, I think Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, they have something similar. They're not really good actors, and they're acting pretty much similar in every single film. He's a comedian with the sexually inappropriate jokes in every single film. And if we're talking about Blake Lively, she's that forceful woman that is beautiful, sexy, and she's always, like, I don't know her shape. And I guess they watched some of the interviews from Johnny Depp, not even interviews, but I know that Johnny Depp, he got his role as Jack the Sparrow from the Pirates of the Caribbean. In a way, he talked to a director and he said, I am going to participate in your movie if you give me full control of Jack the Sparrow, and I'm going to create this character from my perspective and from my side. He read the script and he knew he wanted to make Jack the Sparrow the way he is, a little bit reckless and crazy and funny and alcoholic, but still he's a professional. And I mean, like, he's a professional pirate, and he was the best. And when I guess Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively saw that someone can demand his or her rules, maybe they can do the same way. But there's a huge difference between Johnny Depp and Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, because Johnny Depp, he's a great actor, and he can pull off any role. And he can act in drama, he can act in some adventurous films as well as comedy films, and he's different. And that is the difference between him and Blake Lively, because they're similar. Every single film, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, they're the same, and it gets bored. And I don't really know if Ryan Reynolds can pull off anything but Deadpool. It's going to be some other superhero, either it's going to be some role with him and his weird jokes. Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of Deadpool. Every single time I watch Deadpool, I watched it only once, each episode, and only because my husband wanted to watch it, and we were like, okay, let's watch it. And I wasn't even watching the third part entirely. It was more like I was doing something and it was just a background noise. But all the time I heard so many jokes, and they were so sexually oriented. And I know what people loves his character because he's just like a little bit cute and whatever, but most of the jokes were not funny. I'm sorry, it wasn't just like, it was a potty jokes. And whenever Blake accused Justin in weird behavior, I mean, you can see your husband, he's doing this all the time in all of his films, and sometimes he's a jerk. Whenever he used Justin as a shield in, like, as a nice pool and the meal bun, and then he actually talked about feminism in Deadpool. And again, these type of jokes, why wouldn't he bring this character in the film to make fun of him in his film? That is so crazy, in my opinion. Like, what kind of beef do you have with him? And believe it or not, I do think Ryan Reynolds has some issues and his certain trauma, and that is the main reason why he tries to make fun of people and bully people in a way that it literally bullies people. Justin Baldoni, I guess, posted a podcast where he talked in November about some feelings, and he was stressed out, and he admitted the fact that he was stressed out. That was the main reason why people were like, okay, we kind of see you. We know that this is a problem, and we know that you were suffering during the shooting of the film, because this powerful couple, they try to ruin him, and they're still trying to ruin him. And now they have their own issues. I know that Blake Lively, we're talking again about Forbes and why people are not liking her, because when she was doing this Forbes interview, she was talking that she tried to take this creative control and just control over the movies. But the problem here, when she talked that they had limited budget, it ends with us, limited budget, and she was an executive producer and an actress, she was paid $3 million, as well as $600,000 for her costumes and costume designs. where Justin Baldoni was paid significantly less for his role as an actor. But what she does to these directors, and it ends with us in particular, she shoots the film up until the point where the budget is half spent, or maybe like more than half spent, because you're not only paying actresses for their roles, you're actually paying for so many more things. The rent, then you're paying for other actors, then your crew, and you need to pay, like so many more things. And maybe you rent some cameras whatsoever. And then when an actress is threatening you to leave the film, then you know that half of the budget that was spent is going to be wasteful, because if she leaves, then they need to hire someone else and they would need to reshoot the whole film. And if they reshoot the whole film, they need a new budget. And it's going to, maybe this film is not going to cost this much and they're not going to earn that much to cover all the expenses. And she knew this, and that is the main reason why she started threatening him. Even due to the contract, she would pay her $3 million money, or she would pay even more. But the calculation started that it still wouldn't be enough for them to cover the expenses they spent on half of the film. And that was the card, I guess, Ryan Reynolds played and Blake Lively did. And that is the main reason why I think they're not likable anymore. I talked about Taylor Swift in today's podcast, that she was probably not a part of the whole drama. Blake Lively used her name behind Taylor's back, and that was the main reason why a lot of reporters mentioned Taylor was pissed and she tried to distance herself from Blake Lively in the Super Bowl. Blake Lively wasn't invited to a Super Bowl, which is pretty much obvious, but most of you might know that Taylor was booed at a stadium of a Super Bowl, and of course she didn't understand what was that for. Honestly, I don't really think Taylor should be punished for something Blake and Ryan did. Yeah, she was a huge part of her life and she did actually participate in some meetings, but I don't really know. What do you think, guys? What do you actually think? Was she aware of this whole situation because she's a best friend and she knows how they treat people and how they talk to people? And if she was a part of the meeting with Justin Baldoni when Ryan screamed at him, or at least paraded him for something that he thought Justin did, if she saw this, did she have any right to get involved? Or maybe she didn't really want to get involved? Because, well, Taylor, even if she doesn't really like drama, she still sings a lot about her relationship drama. I don't know, guys. I think I am exhausted and tired of this topic. I was following the case for a long period of time, and I was following some drama channels for a long period of time. But for now, I'm a little bit tired. I don't really think it's going to end soon, and there are going to be a lot of different, I guess, details about this case in the future, and there are going to be more powerful people involved in this case, and there are going to be more trials, I guess. But what we know for now is that a lot of the accusations and evidence provided from Blake's side, they're false or misleading, and they're not containing full information. I hated the fact that they deleted a lot of important details from their messages and they edited those messages. I didn't like the fact that New York Times actively participated in the scandal and they actually gave the platform for the scandal. I know when it's a hot topic, it's a matter of time when you post it. And as someone said, the journalist from New York Times in her own podcast, or not her podcast, but she was invited to this podcast. They reached out to Justin's side, but they rejected to provide any evidence, and that was the main reason why they posted the article. But when you tell people there's like 18 hours for you to provide any evidence, first of all, why are you accusing me? You're just a journalist. Second of all, you're still posting some information, shady information, not knowing the whole truth. I know that's going to be a hot topic, but you're literally going to be in trouble if it's not true. It turned out that wasn't true, and now they're sued as well. And I guess this is important for journalists to find real evidence and to maybe wait a little bit longer. I know it's really hard. It's tough. This is tough because they could have gone to a little bit different newspaper, but still was that hot topic that every magazine, every newspaper that posted something about the situation, I guess they had a lot of views and a lot of reads, and they still could have earned their readers. I have my personal, beef with New York Times. Yeah, not even beef, but I remember when I was a third-year student, we participated, I'm from Russia, if you have no idea, I'm from Russia, and we had some topic, science past, present, and future. And I remember, like, I'm a linguist and I'm a translator. That was the reason why I try to write about science and linguistics, and I tried to combine this together. And I got a harsh review from one reviewer from New York Times that said that it's not scientific and whatsoever, and which is okay. I mean, I totally understand this. And then I got a second review from a second reviewer who said, yeah, that is a nice paper, well researched, but he said still maybe it's not a scientific topic or something like that. And I mean, I really like the second reviewer because he was, actually taking care of the language, how it was written, and he was, given points fairly for something that was written in my paper. And the first reviewer, he was just harsh and he didn't really care to give me the points that were related to a real topic like the language, and he just rated everything poorly because he didn't really think this was a scientific topic. That is the main reason why I think I understand Justin Baldoni when you have two different reviewers and the first one is saying it's not scientific and just poorly giving you the lowest points just because he didn't like the just because he thought it wasn't scientific, and the second one was actually reviewing the article and actually giving the points for some idioms for my language and comparisons and all of it. And it's just like, it's so weird how two different people can view your point of view and have absolutely different opinions. And that is something that happened with the situation where we have 2 points of view from Blake's side and from Justin's side. And what I really liked about Justin, that he actually provided all the evidence and he said, like, you can judge yourself. I don't really want to show you or just, say something meaningless without any proof. I'm just going to give you proofs and you're going to come up with your own decision. And this is important. Read, study this first, and only then judge people. But I still think that maybe Taylor would know better in the future not to get involved in dramas and support her friends if she doesn't have the whole story. That is going to be a great lesson for her, but I don't really think Taylor deserves any of it, and I don't really think Taylor needs this thing, but that's going to be a great lesson for her in the future to just like maybe communicate with people that are not bullies. And I think it's going to pass. I don't really think people are going to turn backs to Taylor. I don't really think so. For Taylor, if she's quiet and not bringing any attention, it's going to pass. For Blake, it's too late. It's too late for Blake and Ryan to let it pass and let it go because they got themselves in this mess and now they need to deal with this. I love you all guys so much, and I'm going to see you in my next podcast. That's fun with me. Till my next time. Bye-bye.